The crisp summer morning that peeked through my bedroom window nearly brought tears to my eyes. Firstly, because the sun was blindingly bright. And second, because it was stunningly beautiful. I attempted to blink the sleep away from my eyes as I slid out of bed and stumbled towards the bathroom. It was just as I was brushing my teeth that I heard it. The distinct breaking of glass on wood. Hi, I'm Ben. And last time you heard from me, I just found out that I had leukemia. My sister took me to an extravagant trip to parts of Asia and Europe, and then I started seeing my doctors. All the while, the fact that I was seeing Principal Briggs's 3 daughters was still looming in the back of my head. And on top of that, I realized that I was beginning to have feelings for my stepsister. I still hadn't gone back to school. They were kind enough to excuse me for the rest of the year when they found out about my illness. All they needed was for me to finish the same schoolwork and tests that the rest of my classmates would be doing before our final semester ended. But I dreaded going back for graduation. Maybe I should skip that too. Since I'd left, Jill, Maeve, and Sandy haven't stopped texting and calling me. All I could ever say in reply was that I was still in the hospital. I felt guilty that I was lying to them, but technically I was going to the hospital most days anyway. I was just living in the new loft that Yana bought for me so I could stay closer to my doctors. My leukemia wasn't a fast grower, so my doctor said I didn't need chemo yet. But they needed to make sure they were keeping an eye on how it was progressing, and they monitored me. The day I found 2 girls in my apartment, Yana had just gone back home to my stepdad. I ran downstairs with my toothbrush still stuck in my mouth, toothpaste foam hanging down my lips and making me look like a rabid madman. What the? Who's out there? I called out into what I knew was supposed to be an empty apartment. When I reached my living room, I saw on the far end of the open-plan kitchen 2 girls I'd never seen before. Did these thieves just break into my house? But they didn't seem like thieves. And they were smiling right at me. One had a smoking frying pan in her hands, and the other was busy cleaning up the broken glass on my hardwood floor. "Sorry," said one of the interlopers who didn't look like thieves. "We didn't mean to wake you." I told her to be careful with the glasses. Added the one with the frying pan. She tilted it so I could see that she'd burned whatever it was she was cooking. "We just wanted to surprise you with breakfast. See? But neither of us are very good cooks." "Wait," I said as the last dregs of sleep left my body and my brain began to wake up. Who are you? And what are you doing in my apartment?" At that, the girl who was disposing of the broken glass in the bin stood up and said, "Yana gave us the keys. I'm Max, and this is Alyssa." She gestured to the girl who couldn't cook. "We're your twins," she added. My mind reeled at hearing that. What do you mean you're my twins? My mom only ever had me. You feel good breaking into sick people's houses, huh? I'm calling the cops." Wait, no, please don't do that," said Alyssa. She dropped the pan onto the kitchen counter with a clang and fished something out of her back pocket. It was a torn photo of my mom in her younger years. "This is your mom, isn't it?" she said as she shoved the photo towards my face. All I could do was nod, as if my life wasn't strange enough already. Before I could even begin to unpack my thoughts, Max butted in. "We were separated at birth. We've been living with our dad this whole time. Well, until he went and left. We have no idea where he actually is right now. But I swear we're your sisters." I was so confused. Family drama? Estranged siblings that come out of nowhere? Was I living in a telenovela? Why did Yana do this without even telling me? Did she even confirm that these strangers and I were related? What if this was some elaborate scam? Sure, my mom didn't have any living relatives left that we know of, so it'd be very hard to track down anyone who could tell us the truth. And the only one who'd have the answers would be my dad. but it's not like I'd ever remember what he looked like anyway. And now, he's nowhere to be found. Sounds like an awful lot of convenient coincidences, if you ask me. The chance that I'd be one in a set of triplets was just too improbable for me to process. I didn't believe what the girls said, one bit. When I told them to get out of the house, Max began to dial on her phone. If you won't believe us, here, talk to your own stepsister. She'll tell you what's up. And she was right. As I FaceTimed with Yana, she told me that she had given the girls permission to stay with me, and that they were moving in so they could take care of me in her stead. She was away on an extended trip as she was still under contract with a multinational company that wanted her to design their wine bottle labels. It meant that she had to go on long trips to various regions of the world so she could work directly with their several vineyards. And that meant that she couldn't just stay with me the whole time. The vacation that we went on already took away from the time she was meant to spend on that project. She told me not to worry. Yana said she'd already ordered a DNA test to prove whether or not the girls were really my sisters. And she explained that their story makes sense, and she had a feeling they actually were my sisters. She told me to be patient and to just wait for the DNA test results. Meanwhile, the girls could take me to my appointments as they seemed harmless enough, she added. I fixated on the thought that Yana had probably lost her marbles. Who gives house keys to strangers? She could have at least waited to confirm the DNA results. But I guess what's done is done. As I ended our call, Max took back her phone and said, "See? You see now?" She huffed, as if I was the crazy one for doubting her outlandish claims. Claims that didn't even have tangible proof yet. Alyssa ran over to me and wrapped me in a tight embrace. She ran her hand up and down my back as if to comfort me. I guess Mom never told you, huh? She said. If you knew all this time, then why weren't you even at Mom's funeral? I asked. I was proud of myself for keeping my wits about me and coming up with a question that could expose them for being the liars that they were. We were studying abroad at the time. Dad kept moving us every other year. It was frustrating, to be honest. Trust me, if we could have, we would have been there, no doubt. It was just, Dad was always so against us meeting you and Mom. Crap. Another convenient excuse. I was considering the idea of just collecting their luggages and throwing them out, and telling them to stay elsewhere until the DNA results came back. But the pair had already unpacked and chosen their rooms. I guess I picked the wrong day to sleep till noon, huh? Besides, I'm not the type of person who just chuck out people like that. What if they were actually telling the truth? As much as it pains me to think about it, what if they actually were my sisters? So, Max and Alyssa stayed. They took me to my doctor's appointments, they cleaned the house, they cooked me food. Well, they tried. Most of the time, we just ordered in. I had to watch what I ate, though. Doctor's orders. The girls were actually pretty nice. They were considerate of my needs, and they always thought about my health. I never knew how it felt to have siblings. But as the days went by, I was beginning to think it might not be so bad. And if they were just thieves or scammers, they would have burgled or hurt me by then. Right? One day, Toby and Phil came to visit. When I opened the door to greet them, they rushed to give me hugs. Phil messed up my hair and Toby punched me on the shoulder. "We've missed you, man. How are you?" asked Toby. And before I could even reply, Phil added, "We missed you, bro. The whole school's been asking about you." "The whole school?" I asked. I was basically invisible there. Why would anyone be asking after me? "Yeah, I guess being this sick made you an instant celebrity," Toby chimed in. "That... and Well, he scratched the back of his head as if he were struggling about whether he should say what he was about to say. What? I said. Everyone knows, answered Phil, when Toby just shrugged his shoulders. Everyone knows... what? Everyone knows... Oh! I said when I'd finally realized what they meant. Was Principal Briggs gonna barge in here any minute and demand that I sacrifice my life to his fury? Was he gonna slap the cancer cells out of my body now that he knew I'd basically made a mini harem with his girls? My mounting fear was interrupted when Phil let out a low whistle. He noticed the two girls who sat on the couch, intently watching the exchange we three boys were having. Who are these hotties? Phil exclaimed. Jeebus! Chill, Phil! Those are my twin sisters. Or, that's what they claim to be. We won't know yet until the DNA tests come back. And almost as a whisper, I added, any day now. When Max raised her eyebrow at me, telling me she'd heard that, I turned back to my friends and said, so, like, lay off them or something. Your stepsister got you this cool flat, you're dating all three of Briggs's daughters, and you have twin sisters. Man, you're living the life, aren't you? Said Phil. And mostly to himself, he muttered, dang, where's my hot twin sisters, eh? He looked back up at me and grinned. Teach me your ways, great Hokage. The girls laughed. Toby gave Phil a smack in the head, and I said, don't be gross. But I couldn't help but laugh at how silly Phil always was. Your life's a hot mess, isn't it? Said Toby. You don't know half of it, I replied. That was when a loud knock on the door came, and when Toby opened it, the man said, Ben Patterson, from Exogen Labs. Max grabbed the package before I could even answer. I watched Max intently as she opened the envelope. Alyssa and I waited with bated breath. The suspense was too much for me to bear, so I grabbed the results from Max's hand and tore the envelope open. I could read the words, no problem, but my mind did not register what they meant. All I could do was stare wide-eyed at what the piece of paper said.